Hello, 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 and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and I'm a master manifestor, and I'm sure you are too because you're watching content like this. The name of this channel is Manifesting Magic the Practical Way. There are a lot of practicalities to manifesting the lives that we choose. What I'm talking about today is going to be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. It's so true. Have you ever, this happens a lot, okay? In your past, if you've ever dated someone or you ever found someone and you thought that this person was just like the person of your dreams, you thought that they had all of these things and all of these pieces of the puzzle, and you just was like, they're just so amazing. I remember I was like that with somebody way back in the day who was absolutely no good for me, you know. And so in this mode, I really, really went hard emotionally and mentally. I gotta get this person. I gotta be with this person and all this kind of stuff, right? So then I actually got it, right? I actually got it. I actually got the person. Then I got the person and I looked around and went, well, you're not that great. You weren't very good to the last person you were with. And then now you're with me. You're doing the same thing, right? So this is what I mean. Sometimes we ask and beg for things that we really are not equipped to handle in any kind of way, right? Because this is the thing. A lot of times, if we're asking and begging for something, that means that we are not in a position of creating that thing for ourselves, right? So if we asking and begging for this guy who think we think is so amazing, he's got all this and he's that and he's special, he's smart, he's blah. But really, we're begging for this because we really need to be developing those things in ourselves, right? This is the same thing in environments. Work environments is a big one. They go on, oh, we want this talent. We need this person. We need a person for this. We want somebody better. We want to pay more money. We want to get a person that does this and does that, right? Always be careful of those type of environments. If that's not the status quo, like that level of advancement and that level of desire, the level that they're talking about, then it's what they're aspiring to. And what they're hoping is that they can bring someone on board that will help the environment get to the next level. The only problem with that is that when you don't know that you're asking for something that you don't have, you create a situation to where you actually get that thing and then you don't know what to do with it, right? Anytime you hear somebody going on about how this thing, people, place, or thing, or whatever is going to improve or impact their lives, and they really, 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 really always be careful of that. Be like, nothing is that perfect. Nothing is all what is cracked up to be in that kind of way. So when we ask for things, most of the time, we're not even clear about what exactly it means in our lives, like what we need to shift in our lives in order to make a place for this thing that we're asking for, right? Relationships, it's very common for people to ask for things that they don't have inside of them, right? They'll ask, I want somebody who's compassionate, loving, who makes a lot of money, who's tall, who's this, who has that, and there's all these characteristics, who's secure, who loves to travel, who's this and that. And then you look at the person who's asking for it, and they have in no way created an environment for a person like that to be nestled into. They're aspiring to it, but they haven't created the environment yet. So my thing is, when you're still aspiring, know that you haven't created that environment yet, and that when you actually get that thing, there's things about your environment that's going to have to expand and change. And if you're not ready to expand and change to meet that thing that you're asking for, then that thing that you thought you wanted so bad is going to be very detrimental to your mental health. It's going to ruin you to some degree, not fully, not all the way, not completely. But I mean, is like it's really um gonna deplete your energetic resources because you are not understanding that you have not created a space for this thing that you think you want in your life. We always talk about this when it comes to people like winning the lottery, getting a lot of money all of a sudden, and they beg for this thing, and then when they finally got it, they were not raising their levels energetically or their mindset in order to sustain or maintain this thing that they think they want. So anybody can attract something with a bunch of bells and whistles and something flashy and exciting and unique in a lot of promises. But when you actually get that thing that you're asking for, how do you not fumble with that thing? A lot of people do it. Relationships all the time. Constantly, me and my partner, we talk about that all the time. How we've been in situations and environments where we were like, I really want this thing and I really want to have it. And then when that thing actually showed up in our lives, we realized that we weren't even equipped to do the right thing by the thing that we wanted, that we asked for. I would encourage, and even in work environments, people just like, oh, we wanted to hire this talented person. We wanted to, this happened to me several times, right? When you're a person that does a lot of stuff, people see it and they just want to harness it. They're like, ooh, you do that, you do this, you do this, you do that. It's like, yeah. And they're like, ooh, we can use, but you really can't. And you probably should say, you know what, this one is so great, but I know we don't have the kind of environment that's going to allow this person to flourish. So I'm going to have to let them go. A lot of times when we get rejected in relationships, we think it's about us. We think it's about something that we didn't deliver or we didn't bring to the table. But a lot of times people are dismissing us, or dismissing people because they know that they're not a repository. They're not a safe space for that person's greatness to live. And because they know that, they're much more equipped to let that thing go by. And you're all thinking, oh, I wasn't good enough. This thing didn't want me. The person didn't want me. The environment didn't want me. All this kind of stuff. And you realize that's not true. They knew that they were asking for something like you, but they knew that they didn't have the ability to sustain your presence in their life, in their workspace, in their environment, in their projects, whatever it is, right? You have to be really careful of that. If you're like a light, and if you're watching stuff like this, I know you're a light, a bright light that shines everywhere you go. You go in environments, you can do these special things. You have a special touch on everything. You're really good at what you do. You're one of a kind. You're very unique in the way that you bring things to the table. And people always have told you this and you know it. And then people are like, oh God, we can use somebody like it. We can use it. We need it. We need it. We need it. We need this to change and that. And then the minute you get in the environment, it's roadblock after roadblock after roadblock after micromanaging after micromanaging after roadblock after roadblock after roadblock after roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And they just keep happening. And so you're just like, were these people, was this place, was this person, was this thing really, really ready for my presence? And it's not always the case. And then you have to say, was I? Was I really ready for the presence of this thing? I said I wanted this thing. I said I wanted to create this thing. I wanted to develop. I wanted to learn. I wanted to expand. I wanted to innovate. Was I ready for this thing? And if I'm in an environment that is not giving me that thing, then that means when I walked into that environment, I wasn't ready yet. I thought I wasn't. And so when you begin to see, okay, I really see where I want to make a change. I really see where I want to innovate. I really see where I want to create. And you're no longer on the same frequency as that environment, then it'll fall off. It'll fall off. It'll fall off without you having even do any work with it. It'll fall off. It'll fall off in something more amazing and something more beautiful, an even better person, an even better place, and even better things will show up in your life and space, and you will be more than prepared for them, and those things will be more than prepared for you. So it's always about getting a little more clarity and understanding that this may be the case, that when you walk into new things or new environments, it may well be that the environment wasn't really ready for what you had to offer. But it also very well may be, that you thought you wanted to be a certain thing and you realize, I don't really want to do this. I'm not really interested in this. I'm not really, um, I'm not really on the right path. I don't really want to do this anymore. So you have to be real clear and pay attention to those signs, right? Pay attention to that and know that not every environment, not every person or place or thing is going to be receptive of what you have to offer and what you bring to the table. And it's just the fact of the matter. And the fact that it's not receptive doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. It just means that either you were asking for something you weren't ready for, or that environment was asking for something and they weren't ready for you. But that happens quite often, right? So that's why my message is be careful what you ask for, because you actually may get it, right? You say you want to do something big and great, be careful, because guess what? Somebody's going to call you with that opportunity. It happens all the time. I'm like, oh yeah, I would do that. And then somebody sends me an email and I'm like, would I really do that? But you'll see what you're made out of when you start to understand that, sometimes we're not ready for the things that we think we are. And we really need to start building more inner. We really need to start going within more and creating more of what we want to see in the world in ourselves. Because normally when we're not attracting it in the world, it's not that the people in the environments are so bad or they don't get us or it's not right and blah, blah, blah. It's just that we have not gained enough clarity about where we want to take ourselves and what we want. So we ask for these things in the middle of our unclarity, and people ask for things from us in the middle of their lack of clarity. And sometimes you get in the environment, it's like, hey, dude, I got all these things to do and give and be, and I have all these things to share, and y'all don't even have a place for me to put it, right? It's like coming home from the grocery store with an abundance of food and all these amazing things. And the people at home was like, we're so hungry. We don't have anything. We don't have any food. I got teenagers. There's nothing to eat. There's things to eat that you'll have to make yourself. God bless the day when I realized I didn't have to cook all my children's meals anymore. I was like, what? Don't say it's over. But I didn't even realize that they can take care of themselves. I was on such autopilot for such a long time. And it takes getting a partner, getting a mate, or, getting a significant other for him to looking like, you're doing way too much for them girls. How old are they? 13? Why are you making their noodles? I was like, I don't know. They said I make them the best. It's manipulation. It's all manipulation, right? So sometimes we say that we want to have these things and do these things and we want to be these things, but we really don't have a clue about how to nurture those things when they come into our space. So what I would say is anything that you think that you're going to add to your life that's going to make you more of something that you want, be that more thing ahead of time. Become that more thing ahead of time. Become that more thing before that thing that you're asking for shows up, so that you will be an excellent space for that thing to land. Oh, that's the point I was making with the food. I was saying teenagers. Yeah, you got all this food. And I'm like, unload the groceries in the back or whatever. But then you look in the cabinets in the kitchen. There's some half empty boxes. There's like food and Tupperware that needs to be done. All this stuff. And I'm like, dude, you're not even prepared for all this stuff. Never mind. I'm not bringing these groceries in here. You don't even have space for it. You said you wanted all this stuff, but what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? You don't even know. You just wanted it, So we have to know that when we want something or we ask for something or we desire something, we really have to pay attention to, am I ready for this thing? Or is this thing ready for me? Relationships, places, people, is this ready for me? Am I ready for this thing? Bottom line. And then that's the bottom line of it. Hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day.